Welcome back to another great episode of the Adam Talks podcast.
I started out as a wrestler, 10 years Olympic style. So I started when I was about 9 or so.
We said we don't want Bruce Wayne to be old and that's his reason for retiring. He has to have a reason to not be doing this.
I knew I'd always wanted to do it. I never saw myself at a desk job, and anytime I thought of something else, it always brought me back to wrestling.
Man, I don't like fancy pad work. I like realistic pad work. Am I formed? Am I punching correctly? Am I balanced? Like a lot of them guys will hold pads way outside their faces, and it's just, I don't believe in that type of training, man. Like,
for a couple promotions, I wrestled under a mask, and we don't talk about those days. Because those days were fun and really embarrassing.
It is the first annual Berryville Film Festival. I'm the founder and festival director for it. So it's exciting to bring something to a small town, something brand new.
I think anything you do in wrestling has to have meaning to it. No matter, like, facial expressions, the high-flying moves, all that stuff like that.
And we're back with another great one. We are here with an awesome guy, an actor, a director, a writer, a guy who's done it all in the film industry. We are talking to the one, the only, Buddy Campbell. How's it going, man?
Oh, it's doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We tried to do it once before. It didn't end up turning out, but I'm glad we got to get you back on here, man. I can't wait to talk about some of this awesome stuff, some of these films. I got a page of stuff written down that I'm wanting to ask you about as far as filmography and whatnot. But before we get into any of that, I did want to ask you, how did you get into acting? How did you get into the film stuff and everything like that?
Well, I did plays in high school and college, like most everybody does, and it didn't wasn't a lifetime passion. I didn't think at the time. Really enjoyed doing plays and like that, but after college, I got a real job in the real world, and then 20 some odd years later, I got a open casting call for a movie called Greater that was shot in Northwest Arkansas, and I auditioned for a character called Redneck Number One, and didn't get the role, but they invited me back as a featured extra, and I got to spend the day on a movie set. It was a SAG movie. It was a big, fairly big budget union film, and got to hang out with a couple of actors that I really admired. Neil McDonough, Wayne Duvall. They were really great to visit with, and also starred Leslie Easterbrook, Nick Searcy, Michael Parks, some people like that. And but after that, I caught the acting bug again and started taking acting classes in Little Rock with Melissa Moody of Excel Models and Talent. And before too long, I was doing short films and student films and so forth, and started getting small parts in bigger budget films, and it just started snowballing from there. And that was in 2013 when I did Greater, and now I'm in the middle right now of my 121st project, and
Holy cow.
Just couldn't be happier with the way things are going. That 121 projects, that's film, TV, web series, short films, commercials. Every project I've been in has been I'm doing number 121 right now.
Man, I mean, like, you gotta think that it had to have been a dream at one point of yours to be doing this sort of thing, watching films or watching TV or something like that. Have you had the moments where it was like, this can't be real, pinch me moments?
Sure. After college, actually, I got a job reviewing movies for a newspaper, and so I started going to every movie that came to town, and that's when I really caught the movie bug of actually longing and wanting to be on the big screen at some point. because I just fell in love with going to movies, going to the cinema, and seeing movies on the big screen. And but then when I did Greater, that one was actually shown in theaters. And even though I didn't have any lines in it, I was just an extra. I had about 8 seconds on screen that I could actually see myself up there, and was able to bring my family to see it. And it was that was one of those pinch me moments. Even though, again, there was no lines, I was just an extra, but just to see me on screen for a few seconds was a big thrill. And that really was my motivation to keep going. I wasn't sure if I was actually going to pursue acting at that time. It was just on a whim. I went and auditioned for that. And then after I got positive feedback from my acting coach, and started booking some small gigs, and then it started snowballing after there. I was able to get a great agent out of California who's really helped me with my career, to help me blossom. And yeah, that's all I want to do now. But recently I had a movie in theaters called Disciples in the Moonlight, which was my biggest role ever for a movie that made theatrical release. And I was in a couple of scenes for that, and that was my most proudest moment that I've had so far, is telling everybody about that movie. And I went to see it 4 different times in the theater that week that it was airing, and got to take different people at different time, and got to see their reaction, and listening to the audience too, how they reacted to my character, because I play a pretty colorful character in it. And it was really great to hear the reactions from people sitting around me as well. So that's the biggest thrill I've had so far.
Man, I guess one of the questions I would have about films, like being an actor in general, uh, is there a difference? And this may sound like a very, I don't know if stupid's the word, but uh, it may just sound like a weird question, but is there a big difference between stage acting, acting in a film, or acting on a series?
Yeah, you broke up just a little bit there. Difference between acting on stage, you said,
Yes,
and
on
acting in a
a
movie?
stage, in a movie, and on a series.
Okay. Yeah, and I haven't done a play since college, so that's been years ago. And because I'm getting old now. Uh, but yeah, it's a big difference between stage and being in front of a camera. Yeah, you don't get second takes, on stage. And the most important thing you got to do there is to be heard. You can always tell a stage actor that's trying to do their first movie, because they project loudly when they're just talking to you, and it's like you have to calm them down. So you don't have to be so loud for the person in the back row to hear you. And so that was there's a lot of nuance when it comes to movie acting. Facial expressions mean a lot. Body language means a lot. Just motions with your face and head tells you a lot. Stage acting, it's not that big a deal, because people are further away from you and can't see the emotions in your eyes, and can't see the tears or the um, quiver in your lips when you're speaking or something like that. So yeah, it's a big difference that way. It's more nuanced in um, on film and TV. But as far as a series and a movie, there's no big difference in that. Everything's done the same. It's just that it's broken up into different parts is all.
Okay. Okay. Well, speaking of films and movies and whatnot, like I said, I got a list here a whole bunch of stuff on this list that I wanted to ask about. And the one at the very top is one you've already mentioned, your proudest moment, Disciples in the Moonlight. Talk about that for me. Tell me about that, man. I have not got the chance to be able to check it out or anything like that. What is it?
Well, Disciples of the Moonlight is a story about it's set in the state of Indiana. It's in a not too distant future where the government has deemed the Bible as hate speech and tries to or does replace the Bible with a government approved Bible that's, as they say, more inclusive and, more more people will accept it because it's not judging people, so to speak. And so basically they are collecting all the Holy Bibles, and trading them for government issued Bibles, and tries to destroy every original copy of the Holy Bible. So the storyline is there's these 7, as they call them, disciples, or these Bible smugglers in Indiana that are trying to transport original Holy Bibles to churches in other states across state lines, and they have the Department of Homeland Security on their tail trying to stop these transfers from happening and try to arrest these Bible smugglers. And so that's why it's called Disciples of the Moonlight, because most everything that they do is at night, under the moonlight, trying to not catch the attention of Homeland Security.
Okay.
But
Tell us about your character.
It was in theater.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say it was in theaters back in July, and it was recently available on Amazon and some other services for pay-per-view. And now, about a week ago, it got released. The DVDs are available now. You can get those in stores or order those from your like you would any other DVD now.
Nice. Heck yeah, man. Talk to us about your character in this movie, man.
Well, all I can tell about my character is that he's a mysterious character that you don't know whether he's what side he's on. There's bounties on all of these disciples' heads, and so some people try to act like they're befriending them when all they're doing is turning them in for the reward money. And so you don't know what my character is. He's just a mysterious character that 2 of the disciples meet along their journey trying to smuggle these Bibles, and but he does have an impact, and I'm really proud of the scenes I'm in that, and hope everybody can go see it and see what my character does.
Okay. Going to a little bit of a different film. It's a film that actually hasn't came out yet. You told me about this movie you're going to be in with some really big named actors called Sovereign. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, Sovereign is a movie that was based on real events that happened in West Memphis, Arkansas, I think in 2010. It's about these sovereign citizens. The dad is played by Nick Offerman, and Jacob Tremblay plays his son, and it's based on what happened when they were pulled over in West Memphis, Arkansas, for not having car tags. Sovereign citizens, for those that don't know, are people that think that the laws don't apply to them, and they can do basically whatever they want. They don't pay their taxes, and they don't get car tags, and so forth. So they got pulled over, and they ended up killing 2 Crittenden County, police officers. And Nick and Dennis Quaid plays the Crittenden County Sheriff in that one that's trying to track them down after these murders on the side of the road takes place. And so I'm in some flashback scenes where we get an inside view of the character played by Nick Offerman, the Sovereign Leader, where he goes from town to town doing these seminars, encouraging people not to follow the laws and trying to tell them how to avoid their, paying taxes, avoid paying rent, mortgages, and so forth, and how the government is not real. They don't have any real authority, and so I play one of the characters that's at one of these meetings, and I'm asking questions to Nick about, things in my life and how he can help me. But it's a role that's not big, but it was a thrill to get to spend the day with Nick Offerman on screen for that, and really looking forward to that to come out. And I believe it'll be in theaters sometime later this year, probably, or in the spring. Excuse me, in the spring at the latest.
Okay, man. That's pretty cool, man. I mean, I bet you got to learn a lot from being around Nick Offerman, Jacob Tremblay, and I bet you were able to talk to them about all kinds of different stuff and pick up on some different things that they may have been able to teach you or help you learn. Uh, that's awesome though, man.
Yeah, Nick was great to work with. He was very, very, very kind, and would answer any questions any of us had. There were only three characters other than him that had lines in those scenes, and so we were able to talk to him very, very intimately, in a close setting there, and he was willing to answer any questions we had and tell stories. And he was just a funny guy. He's playing a bad character in this movie, and but he can turn it on and off between takes. I mean, if he can be dead serious when he does scene, as soon as take, he's telling joke after joke and just making us laugh, and it's hard for us to be serious. But he was so great to work with. Got to have lunch with him, and it was a really great experience.
I mean, you've been on set with not only him, but like you were saying, in Greater, Neil, what was his name? Neil McDonough. You got to be on set with
Neil
them,
McDonough.
Dennis Quaid, as well on Sovereign. I mean, you've been around all kinds of big name people and been able to pick their brains and stuff. I'm sure that helps a lot with future things that you work on, like being able to go, all right, I've learned this from this person, been able to learn this from this person. Not only that, but pull from what you've learned in your classes that you took originally whenever you started acting. Um, as far as series, I'm seeing on my list, you've done a couple different series. Uh, so one that's I'm guessing I didn't see too much on, but I did see that it went a couple episodes. Is the Joneses? Can you tell us anything about that?
Well, it's a series that's still work in progress. We shot a couple of episodes of it over in Oklahoma. Good friend of mine, actress I've worked with before in Oklahoma, wrote it and is directing it, and it's a family series that she's hoping that will get picked up by streaming service at some point. But I had a great character in it playing a judge, so I'm a judge in a couple of scenes where her sister, who's in and out of trouble a lot, and the main character's sister is in and out of trouble a lot, and the main character is um, uh, is a lawyer herself, so she's having to constantly represent her sister in court, and my character as the judge is getting very tired because she keeps getting into trouble, and I keep warning her, this is the last time. This is the last time, or I'm going to put you in jail and so forth. But yeah, it's. I tried to base my character of the judge on Fred Gwynn, who played the judge in My Cousin Vinny. If you saw
Okay.
that, you'll know who I'm talking about. And so
I
he's
got
just
you.
a hard nosed Southern judge. So I got to ham that up a little bit, and really had a good time with that. But
Right
hopefully it'll
on.
get uh, finished sometime in the next year or so.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You've also been in a couple of different like documentary right, recreations. Is that what you would call it? Reenactment. Reenactment. That's the word I'm looking for. Like
Mhm.
Snapped, Killer Couples, but the other one that I wanted to talk about was Murder Comes to Town. What can you tell me about working on those kinds of shows versus show where it's like you're not those shows you're reenacting, right? But the other stuff is like written and you have like characters where you could either portray something in one way or another. Is there any difference in that, or is it just the same thing?
Well, Murder Comes to Town was really great. I did have lines in that one. That one is a true crime series that you find on channels like the Oxygen Channel and the ID Channel and so forth. Most of those true crime shows are all shot in Knoxville, Tennessee. And so several years ago, I got cast in Murder Comes to Town. And when you're cast in these, basically the only qualification is if you look like the real characters. You know, yeah, acting experience helps, but sometimes some of these shows you don't have lines. It's just purely reenactments. But Murder Comes to Town, I actually looked like the sheriff in this episode, and I did have lines, and so that one was great. I got to spend about 4 days in Knoxville, Tennessee, filming that one. That one came out, I think, in 2018, something like that. And the one with Killer Couples was a true reenactment. I didn't have lines in that one, but it was great to go back to Knoxville again to do that and spend a couple of days out there playing um, a Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, another law enforcement guy, TBI, and so that one has aired already as well. Both of those you can find streaming or uh, the ID channel or Oxygen Channel shows reruns of those quite often.
Awesome. Is it the same whenever you're doing like a reenactment versus something that's like a fictional work of art or whatever?
Well, sure, yeah. You know, if you're just doing a reenactment, the pressure is off because you have no lines. All you have to focus on is your movements, making sure you're hitting your mark at the right time and so forth. And not a lot acting wise to those, but sure the scripted projects that you do are much more. I don't want to say difficult, but they're the ones that you have to really be prepared for and you know know your lines obviously and so forth. But yeah, those are the ones that we do that actors want is the true acting roles.
I got you, man. I got you. Now, I have seen you in, I want to say like three short films, I want to say, and then one full-length film. So the first two I saw you in was Voorhees After the Beast which is weird way to watch it, but I watched After the Beast, and then I watched Night of the Beast after I watched After the Beast. So I watched those in the wrong order. But I did watch
Hmm.
those, and I got to see you play what Eddie is his name, right? I got to see you play Eddie in those
Yeah,
movies,
yeah,
and I was
character.
like, this guy knows what the hell he's doing. You know what I mean? I saw the way you were playing the part, and I was like, this is what you see in every horror movie. There's always one guy that's that guy, and that was you. And I was like, you played it to a T, man. What was it like working on those movies?
Thanks. Yeah, that those were fan films, Friday the 13th fan films. So you can do fan films as long as on copyrighted material, as long as you don't make a profit on them. So those got released on YouTube, so anybody can watch those. And yeah, my character of Eddie is, there's usually some guy that's in these horror movies that are warning these people not to go to certain places, or bad things will happen. And basically, that's my character. In the original Friday the 13th that came out in 1980, the character's name was Ralph, and he was the one telling you, if you go, you're doomed. You're all doomed. And so basically, I'm playing his cousin, Eddie. In this one, and so I'm just a backwoods hillbilly that has great intentions of warning these people that bad things will happen, and but I kind of come across as creepy, and so yeah, obviously those young people are not going to listen to me. They're going to do what they're going to do, and but at least my character tries, and so
He told him not to go down
I
there.
warned them, but they didn't listen. They never listen, And so it was just a fun character to play. But Voorhees Night of the Beast was the first one. It's about an hour long. We shot it in Louisa, Kentucky, Blaine, Kentucky, that area there. It's up in the Appalachian Mountains there in Kentucky, right on the West Virginia line. Ironically, that's the area that was in the middle of the Hatfields and McCoys feud back in the day, and so. But Night of the Beast came out, and then about a year later, we did a really short follow-up movie called Voorhees After the Beast, and I was one of only about two characters that were in both of them, because like most Friday the 13th movie, just about everybody gets killed. And so if you
Yeah.
have a sequel, there's usually not that many left over, but I was one of them that was able to be in both. And but Jason Pitts, a great writer and director from here in Arkansas, a good friend of mine, he wrote and directed both of them, and just had a really great time with those. And so yeah, check them out on YouTube. You can just type in Voorhees Night of the Beast and Voorhees After the Beast, and I'm sure you probably put some links up on YouTube for the people to see those.
Yes, sir. But also in that movie, man, you got to work with some great actors in that movie as well. Olivia Disney, Will Reed, James Stokes. I mean, and then like you said, Jason Pitts, man, he's a great director. I know the dude personally, and man, he's just awesome, man. He's a really cool dude. He knows what he wants, and he knows how to get it out of the actors. I mean, obviously the actors play a big part in it, but he knows what he wants, and he knows the direction to give as well. So, like I was saying earlier, man, you've worked around all kinds of great actors, and that probably helped your career as well, being able to either impart wisdom to them or learn from them other things, that's really cool, the other Jason Pitts project I was talking about, because it is another one, is Take It Slow, and you said that was a film festival film, right?
Yeah, it was for a 72-hour film project in Oklahoma, and we've got one in Arkansas called the 48-hour film project, where you have to make a movie from beginning to end in 48 hours. And the one he was entered for, that one was a 72-hour film festival. But they're really quick. You have to, uh, first of all, the director will draw for a genre. These are not movies that are already written. You have to draw for your genre and then write the script that night based on whatever genre you drew. And so Jason, of course, wanted, he mostly does horror movies, thriller movies, scary movies of some type, and so he wanted to draw that genre, but instead he drew drama, and so he had to make this one without any blood or gore in it, and but it was a great dramatic film that he wrote um, uh, the night he drew for his genre, and then we started filming it the next day. And he has to film it and edit it and get it submitted during that time period. And so it was put together really fast. I got to play an older character. They made me up to look a lot older than I am, and really had a good time doing that. And it was entered in some other film festivals after that first one. Including the Great Plains Film Festival. No, that would be the Sunny Side Up Film Festival in Miami, Oklahoma. And so I was, um, uh, it was nominated for a few awards, and I was fortunate enough to be nominated as Best Actor. I believe in that one.
Right on, man. Yeah, I loved that movie. I thought it was really cool. I thought the whole concept of the movie was awesome, and I didn't realize what a 72-hour project was like in the film festival, this competition or whatever. I didn't realize that's what happened. You pick a genre randomly, and then you have 3 days to have everything done, including editing and submitting of the film. That is wild, man. I don't know how you would do that.
Yeah, and that's,
Go ahead.
yeah. You said that again, you broke up a little bit.
Oh, I said you go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. The 72 hours one thing, but the 48 hours is even a tighter window, of course. So I directed one of those myself, which didn't go too well, and I've also acted in a few 48-hour film festivals, and yeah, they're tough to do to put out a quality project in that short of a time. But you got to write it, and you don't have a lot of time to think about your script. You just put something on paper because they're like the 48-hour film projects I've been a part of are the movies have to be between 4 and 7 minutes, so they're
Oh,
really short movies, but you can be very impactful uh, even in that short of a time if you got a good script. So writing the script is key, and then having all your actors ready to roll the next day is another key component of that, and of course having different locations ready to go depending on what the script calls for. You have to uh, know what, have a bunch of different locations ready in case you need those locations. And so there's a lot of planning that goes into it, even though you don't know anything about your script ahead of time.
I couldn't imagine doing that, man. I'm a super creative dude, but I don't know that I could do a film in 2 days, let alone 3 days. That's mind blowing that anybody could get that done in that amount of time. Even if it is less than 10 minutes, it's like, how do you do that? How do you have the creative ability to have a concept for a film and then put it down on paper and then the next day be like, all right, we got to get it done. So that way you can get it done quick and get your editing done and get it submitted within that time frame. That's crazy, man. Kudos to you and kudos to Jason for being able to do that. I'm like I said, a super creative guy, but I don't think I'd be able to do that, man. That's nuts.
Yeah, it takes a great captain of the ship. You know, it's got, you know, your director has to be, you know, calling the shots, being decisive. Can't be wishy washy about how to do a scene. He's just got to know it in his head. You got to have team players that are willing to do uh, whatever's called for. You don't know how big your role is going to be when he's writing your character, and sometimes he has more actors ready to go than he actually needs, and some of the actors actually don't even appear in the movie because their character's not needed. Yeah, but it's a team, really a team effort, and you can't have any of the actors feel slighted because their character isn't big enough or whatever. You just got to put all that behind you and just be a team player for that weekend.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That
But I will say take it slow. We only had, I think, four actors in that one, and so it was just a really small cast with just the four of us, and so it turned out really well that we were all able to have some good quality dialogue in that film.
yeah, man. I I think it was great. Like I said, I thought the story was really beautifully told for what for now knowing what it was beautifully told and beautifully written. For the amount of time that Jason had to think about it. You did a great job, and the other three actors did a phenomenal job as well. I mean, y'all four killed it in that short, you know. Um, the other movie that I was go ahead. I'm so sorry. I didn't know if you were
I
saying
was just
something.
going to say Marilyn Knapp did a great job playing my wife in that movie, Take It Slow, and Rhonda Gulliver and Aaron Logan Ray did incredible jobs playing the young couple in it as well. But yeah, they were really great.
I thought y'all all did really good, man. I've had Marilyn on the podcast before, and she did an amazing job in that, but also when the Stairs Creek and Alone, she did all three, all the movies I've seen her in. I think they're all Jason movies, but she's killed it in all of her parts. I think I've only seen them, the other two younger couple, I've only seen them, I believe, in that project, but they knocked it out of the park too, man. Um, but yeah, man, I think that
Aaron
you're good.
Aaron Aaron
Go ahead.
Aaron 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 was in another movie with Jason, one of his other projects I wasn't involved with, but Rhonda Gulliver was actually the first time I met her was when we were filming together. So it was great. You know, she did a great job working with us when she had not done a movie with Jason before that.
Definitely, man. So the other movie I was going to talk about that I've seen of yours, dude, I may have seen you in other stuff that I just don't realize that I've seen you in. You know, you've been in a ton of projects, so there's just no telling if I've seen you in other things and just not known it. You know, but the ones that stuck out for me that I have seen are those three and Batman: Heart of Ice, the Will Reed film. My God, dude, you killed it as Calendar Man. I absolutely loved it, dude. I'm a huge Batman fan. I'm a comic book fan. So it was awesome seeing if I'm not mistaken, the first and only portrayal of Calendar Man in live action. Correct?
That's what they tell me. You're a comic guy, obviously, but I am not. You know, I had knew nothing about Calendar Man until Will Reed asked me to play the role, and we actually shot that in a real jail, in a real cell up in Harrisburg, Arkansas, and so we had inmates actually in the other cells around us while we were filming that. So that, you know, it gives authenticity to the scene I was in, being Calendar Man, and uh, we would get great reactions from the inmates that were in there whenever my character has to get loud and starts yelling, and you could hear their responses to what I was saying when you when you were there. So that was very very interesting role to play, and the first time I've ever shot in a real cell like that before.
Man, that must have been really cool being able to immerse yourself in the criminal role, being Calendar Man, and then, like you were saying, actually being in a jail cell surrounded by criminals. That must have helped a lot to be able to immerse yourself in the character, right?
Yeah, certainly. And what made the character so great is, as you know, and for those who don't know, Calendar Man has multiple personalities. And so I was able to, just about every line of dialogue that I had, I tried to alternate different personalities to each line. And so, he would come across as very very arrogant. He would try to be funny. He would try to be sarcastic. He would be angry. Uh, he would be uh, enraged for something or another. He'd be repentive and so forth, and then he would be humbled and meek, in the next line. So it was a great character to be able to show different personalities that I could do on film. And the fact that it was the first time Calendar Man had ever been on film was another just added little bonus to being in that role in that film. And I can't say enough about Will Reed. Will Reed's one of the young. He is a young filmmaker. He's one of the best up and coming filmmakers in the state, and he's doing it at a very very young age, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. His editing for somebody that young is just impeccable. He edited the Voorhees movies as well, and along with his Batman movies. This is the second Batman movie I've been in with him, and he's been asked based on what people have seen. Other directors have asked him to edit their movies, and so he's getting a lot of work as an editor here as a young age, and I can't speak too much on it right now, but I will say Will has a new movie in the works that he's asked me to be a part of too. So I'm really looking forward to working with him again soon.
Right on, man. Right on. I actually talked to him not too long ago. Another guy I've had on the podcast. I talked to him, uh, I think earlier today, maybe actually, and he was telling me about a project that he has been working on. But he did say the sequel to Heart of Ice, he is working on the script for that. So I'm super excited for that whenever that comes out. Maybe you'll be able to be a part of that as well. Come back as Calendar Man or maybe as another character or something. That would be awesome to see you in another role in a Batman movie, man, because you played what was it, Under the Red Hood or something like that, right?
Under the Red Hood was the first one I did with him, and got to play the mayor of Gotham in that one.
Right on, man. See, you would have
yeah,
the you'd have the trifecta playing three different roles if you were in the third Batman movie that he makes. Three different roles as Batman in Batman. That would be cool, man. That'd be really cool. And I thought you did a great job as Calendar Man. I've got to check out. I've told him this too. I've got to check out Under the Red Hood. And he was like, "Well, I mean, the quality is not as good as the as Heart of Ice, but you can check it out still." I was like, I want to because he did such a good job on Heart of Ice. You
well,
know. All right.
he's very humble. I really thought that Under the Red Hood was excellent as well.
I'll check it out, man. I will check it out and I will give you feedback on that. I'll give him feedback on it as well because big Batman fan here, so love it. Moving on to other stuff that I haven't actually seen. You have done audio, like audio drama, audio work on a podcast called Horror Movies and Scary Stories. Tell me about that. I am an audio drama maker myself, when I'm not doing the podcast. So let me know about that. I want to hear about it. I'm going to have to check it out too.
Well, I was in Dallas, Texas, probably 2 or 3 years ago doing a project for Lifetime, and got to meet an actress that I got to work along there named Tracy Jules, and we became friends on that set, and she told me that her passion was horror movies, and as a writer. She does some acting, but mostly she loves to write horror scripts. And I've been in a lot of horror projects, even though it's not my favorite genre. I like to, but I seem to be getting involved in a lot of horror projects over the years, which I don't mind doing. It's just something I never thought I would do so much of. But anyway, Tracy told me that she was doing this audio movies, audio podcasts, and that she wanted me to help her with an upcoming episode for that. And so I did a voice for her in one called a Talkte. And so we did that one, and then that led to two more, and with me helping her with casting as well. And because being a screenwriter mostly, she doesn't meet the number of actors as I do. And so I've been able to make a lot of friends in the acting world along the way with all these projects that I've been in. And some of the people that we've mentioned already, I was able to get them to help lend their voices to these podcasts. I'm sorry that I'm looking away, but I'm pulling up these some of these podcasts that I did with Tracy, and one of them in particular is called Cake. It's season 2, episode 3 for horror movies and scary stories. Will Reed himself lent his voice to the project, as did Olivia Disney, who you've mentioned, who was in Voorhees, Night of the Beast. Bailey Freeman, who was also in Voorhees, Night of the Beast, lent her voice to it as well. And Marilyn Knapp, who was in Take It Slow, also did a voice for this episode as well. And then some other Arkansas actors that I've worked with that also I was able to get involved in this. Jenny Cook is a great actress from Fayetteville. Carmen Patterson from Cabot was in it. John Honey from Northwest Arkansas. C.J. Bernard from Central Arkansas. Matt Speece from Central Arkansas. Lauren Palmer from Northwest Arkansas. And Carla Kidd, an actress from Texas. I was able to all call on them to help out with this, and they were able to be a part of this particular episode. But yeah, it's fun. You just do all your recordings at your home, and Tracy takes that audio and puts it in her audio podcast, and it's incredible the way she does it. She has a lot of great audio sound effects that she's able to put in her stories, and she's the narrator, the storyteller of these episodes, but it really turns out really, really great. I'm really, really proud of Tracy.
Definitely, man. Well, let me ask you this. I know I've seen behind the scenes stuff on bigger movies or cartoons or whatever, where people are like, ha ha, and they're moving around and they're doing all these motions behind the microphone and stuff like that. For an independent, an independent project like this, that's a send your own stuff in, where you're not going to a studio or something like that, to record your lines. how is it different whenever you're recording your lines on your not on your camera, on your computer or wherever you're recording them from? How is it different than going out on a set and performing? If this was like a real project, like you were out acting in it, how is it different voice acting in it from, doing the physical acting?
Yeah, and in some ways it's easier, but in a lot of ways it's harder than doing acting in front of the camera. You don't have to worry about the camera if you're just doing the audio, which sounds like it's easier, but the hard part about it is 100% of your performance is based solely on your audio. So that's got to be pitch perfect. I mean, uh, you can't get away with not delivering a line perfectly as long as you have good body motion and actions in a scene, and so forth, because you don't get to make up uh, for your lines in any other way except through your audio. And so it sounds easy, it is easier in that you don't have to necessarily memorize your lines. You have it in front of you. You can read them or look at them to know where you're at. You still need to know your lines pretty well, but you've got you got your lines there for you, but it's totally 100% of your performance is based on your voice, delivery of the lines, the inflections in your voice, the the emotions in your voice, especially, has to be spot on for audio. So, a lot of ways it's harder. Some ways it's easier, but it's just something different. And the added benefit to that is you don't have to leave your home. You can do it at home. You don't have to travel for that. So that's always nice. I can call people up and ask them to be in it, and they're more than willing, as long if they can do it at home like that. And so it's easier to cast for, I believe, as well.
So you've been a director, you've been a writer, you've been an actor. Man, we're starting to run low on time. I'm going to ask you a couple quick questions, a couple, speed round. That's what I was looking for. See if you can give me just a quick rundown on a couple of things that I got on my list here. The Seduction of Randy Winters. What can you tell me about that?
That was another one of those short films that was made very quickly, and uh, a writer named Kat Silva asked me to be a part of that project. She wrote it and directed it, and it's only a few minutes long as well, but she wanted me for the title character of Randy Winters. And the storyline of that was my ex-wife, played by Amy Lynn Woodall, is trying to win me back. And so she actually has a documentary film crew at her house that's sort of going to film her attempt to get me back. And so she tries to call me over to her house. Even though we're divorced, our characters are still friendly enough with each other that she can call me over if she needs help with something. So she calls and tells me her hot tub is her jacuzzi is stopped up and she needs me to work on it. So I show up thinking I'm going to work on that, whenever all it is her with wine and candles and everything, wanting to seduce me there in the hot tub, and with her filmmakers there, basically filming it. And so it was, my reactions to that is quite colorful. and so we have a couple of scenes there where we're having dinner together, another scene where she actually spills out her heart and her intentions and so forth, and it was a really, really fun movie to do. Amy Lynn and I have played husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend in several projects now. So, she always teases her husband that I am her other husband, and
Yeah.
so forth. But, and then a great actor from Arkansas named Mark Mitchell, plays my brother in this movie as well, and he makes a cameo appearance, and he's another actor she has played the wife of in several movies. So yeah, she said it was just so perfect to have her two on-screen husbands there for the same movie. But it was a really fun project to do. We shot that in Hot Springs, by the way, and it was always fun to go to Hot Springs.
Hey, that's where I'm from. That's where I live, man. Hot Springs. Heck yeah. I did
Okay.
not know that. That's awesome. Uh, Talk
Yeah,
to us about.
we shot Voorhees after the Beast outside of Hot Springs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Mountain Pine, I think's what, or no,
Uh,
no,
uh,
Mount Ida, Mount Ida.
no, no. It was over around Royal.
Okay, okay. I thought it was close to Mount Ida, man. I don't know why. I thought that's what. I'm just wrong.
Uh, well, my scenes were over there. I think on what is that Highway 70, going towards Mount Ida. Uh, yeah,
Okay,
um,
right on.
but
Um,
I've shot four or five different projects in Hot Springs over the years.
oh wow, okay. See, sometimes I'll go downtown or something. I'll be driving through downtown and we'll see people with just like following people with a camera and stuff. I'm like, they're filming something out here. What is going on? What is this project they're doing? Because it's always crazy. I feel like everybody gets that way whenever it's in their town. They're seeing these film crews and this and that. They're like, like pointing and looking around like, this, what we thought Hollywood done come to my town. You know, it's like, it's
It's
funny.
kind of fun. It's kind of fun. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Back when I was, I guess in my 20s, I was down in Hot Springs with a friend of mine, and they were actually filming a Hollywood budget movie right there in Bathhouse Row there, and
Oh, wow.
it was starring Antonio Banderas. It had
Wow.
Antonio Banderas and Laura Dern there and Billy Bob Thornton. It was really great. It was called The White River Kid, and so we were able to stand on the sidewalk and watch a scene get shot right there uh, on Bathhouse Row, right on the sidewalk. And
Wow, I
that
didn't
was the
know
first
that.
time I was ever close to a movie set.
I didn't know that. That's awesome, man. Holy crap. Um,
Yeah,
so
that'd be back in the '90s sometimes.
yeah, I would have been a little kid at that point. I was born in 1990, so I mean, I would have been a little kid at that point. Um, so talk to us about this Lifetime movie, Secret Life of a Sorority Girl.
That was a fun, interesting project to do. It was interesting because it was originally called Club of Secrets, which I had no problem with that title. And being a Lifetime movie, you pretty much know, the storylines to those. What did the man do wrong in this movie? Is basically the storylines for every Lifetime movie. Um, but I auditioned. I got an audition for a police officer in that movie. It's a story about a woman whose daughter has gone missing. Her daughter is in college. She doesn't realize that her daughter lost her scholarship and in order to pay for college, she has to get a job at night at a strip club while she's attending the university. So the girl obviously comes up missing, and so the mom can't get any help from the police officers, and so she has to do her own investigating. So she gets a job as a stripper in the same strip club in order to try to track down what happened to her daughter. Jessica Morris does an incredible job playing the mom. She's a teacher by day and a stripper at night. And what was one thing that was just a turn that happened in that was when when we shot it, it was Club of Secrets, and then when Lifetime got a hold of it, they changed the title to The Secret Life of a Sorority Girl. And no, it sounds like a different type of movie that I don't want to be a part of, you know.
Sounds like an adult film.
You know, they used to, right. Yeah. It's one of those late night movies you used to watch on Cinemax back in the day. So I didn't like the title, and but they didn't offer me the police officer role, which was the role I auditioned for. They actually, the casting director called me up and said, "We're offering you this other role." I'm like, "Okay, which role?" And they said, "You're playing a peeping Tom." Oh, no. You know, I want to do more wholesome stuff, you know. And so I called my agent, and she, you know, when she asked who the director was, I told her his name, and he goes, all she said was, "Do it." You know, he's a good director. He's got a good reputation. So I called back and said, "All right, I'll play the peeping Tom," you know. And so yeah, I played this weirdo regular at the strip club, you know. And so when people ask me about it now, they'll see the title and they'll say, "Secret Life of a Sorority Girl, that sounds like an adult movie." No, it's not an adult movie. It's a Lifetime movie, you know. Well, where'd you film it? In a strip club. Then it is an adult movie. No, it's not an adult movie. What character do you play? A peeping Tom. It is an adult movie. No, it's not an adult movie. You know, just everything about my character in the title just gives the wrong impression of the movie, because it's a made for TV movie, and so yeah, so I get a lot of teasing about that project.
The
last I've gotten a lot of compliments on my character as well.
The last movie that I was going to ask about, or it's not a movie, it's an ABC miniseries that was produced by Will Smith, is Women of the Movement. Tell us a little bit about that, man.
I think that was a 3-part or 4-part miniseries on ABC that came out a couple of years ago. We actually shot it in Memphis, even though my scene was set in Chicago at the time, but it's based on the true story of Emmett Till. He was a young African-American kid that was in Chicago living with his mother, and he goes down to Mississippi for the summer with some of his relatives down there to spend the summer down there. And while he's down there, he's taken and murdered by some locals down there, and it was a huge investigation back in the day on what happened to him, with the FBI and the local police and everybody, and the trial and everything. But it's a heartbreaking story about what happened to this young man. And but I played a ticket taker at a train station in that. So it's we shot it in the old train station in Memphis, but it was supposed to be in Chicago, and where they're buying the ticket from me. So it was just a tiny part, but I got to be on a huge budget budgeted set, and they had so much equipment there. It looks like they could launch a space shuttle with all the equipment that they had around there. That when you do independent movies in Arkansas, you're used to about 2 or 3 pieces of equipment, not the dozens that they had there. And it was a really great experience to be on something that was that huge. And that was the first movie. Whenever I arrived there in the morning, they actually led me to a trailer and said, "This is your trailer, Mr. Campbell." And I'm like, "Oh, I get." I said, "Who all's in this with me? How many's in it?" "Oh, just you." I'm like, "Oh, I get my own trailer. Okay, this is cool." And the assistant director who led me there, and and showed me the trailer, and they already had my wardrobe in there and everything, and it was terrific. He said, "What do you want for breakfast?" And or she said, "Would you like breakfast?" I was like, "Sure, just tell me where it's at." No, we'll bring it to you. I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he said, "What do you want?" I said, "Breakfast." He said, "Don't tell me exactly what you want." No. Okay. Scrambled eggs, bacon, toast, coffee, and he said, "Coming right up."
Nice.
And a few minutes later, a little PA, a little assistant, was knocking on my door saying, "Here's your breakfast, Mr. Campbell." And it was just the biggest. Still to this date, it was the biggest movie set with the number of people involved in everything that I've ever been on. And the craft services, which usually is just a small table of little treats and stuff that we usually get for craft services on set. They had an entire tent that was looked like it was about an acre, how big it was, with so much food in there. There was just about anything you wanted for lunch or snacks was in there. It was the most, again, just the most incredible set to be on. And that's another one of those moments where you just want to pinch yourself saying, "Is this real?" That I'm being treated like a star in a big budget project like this, even though I wasn't a star. I just had one line in one little scene, but it was got treated like that on that set, and it was just an incredible experience.
So, getting a little bit out of the filmography, you've done this for a little while, but in doing this for as long as you've done it, you've done, like you said, 121 projects. You're working on your 121st right now. Uh, that's a lot of experience, man. And like we've already said, you've done obviously before your film career, you did stage plays. During your film career, you've done you've done movies, you've done series, you've done audio work. You've also written and directed. What are 3 things you could give as far as tips to young actors, writers, or directors, if they're just starting out and they're wanting to know how to do things the right way? What are 3 things that you would be able to give to them right now?
Well, if you want to make a movie, just do it. Anybody, you don't have to have a lot of fancy equipment or anything. Just take your cell phone out in the yard, write a script, get your friends together, and just see if it's something that you enjoy doing. Is just making a little film for your home library, and see if you think it's for you. But obviously, if you want to be a filmmaker, director, you need to go to film school. You got to find a film school that will take you and get enrolled in that. UCA in Conway has a film department there. John Brown University in Salem Springs also has a film program up there. So those are the two in Arkansas that I would recommend. But you obviously don't have to go to film school, but it really helps. If not, if you want to be a filmmaker, get a job on a crew for a bigger budget movie. They're always needing PAs, production assistants. They're basically there to be gophers for the director or producer, just to go do whatever they need done. And but you can learn so much just by being on a set and just hanging out. And if you can get a job as assistant gaffer, or assistant sound mixer or something like that, you're for somebody in the crew, just getting any type of job just to get on set, even just being an extra as an actor, you get to learn a lot from watching how things are done on a real set, and that experience is invaluable. As far as being an actor, I went to being an extra. Anybody off the street can be an extra. There's no basically you're just a warm body on set. They just need people to fill up a restaurant scene or a theater scene or something like that. But when you look for casting calls, you've got to go on casting site networks, casting site Facebook pages, social media pages. Go on there and look for anybody, an independent filmmaker that's casting for a project, and just go to the auditions, and if you get cast, that's great. Being cast in a short film or a student film is great experience, and you get to learn so much that way. But go to film school if you can. If you can't afford that, just be a part of other films in any capacity that you can. And one thing that you've got to do is learn a monologue. When you do auditions, a lot of times they will ask you to recite your favorite monologue. And for those that don't know, monologue is just a passage of dialogue from a film or a TV show where one character has a lengthy speech, usually a minute or two. Learning that so you can perform that for somebody is extremely invaluable. And if you getting a professional resume together with all of your information is key. Getting professional headshots from a professional photographer who knows how to do headshots. Any photographer, not all photographers know how to do them, or they don't know how to do them well, but getting one that specializes in entertainment headshots is very, very key. Every actor's got to have their headshots, resumes, have a monologue ready at any time that they can recite. And if you can get an agent, when you're starting out, it's hard to get an agent without having credits. And so doing those small films will give you credits. And so as you go along, the more movies you become a part of, you can take those older credits off. If you were just a PA, early on, and you've got new acting roles that you can add to your resume, you want to take the lower ones off and so forth. But keeping your resume updated is very key, and just getting credits on your resume is vitally important. But as independent, if you're an independent actor in Arkansas, again, go to the casting call websites and go on social media where they're focusing on filmmaking, and look for all the posts where they're wanting um, actors for their small budget films. And that's the best way to get started in the business around here.
Right on, man. Well, buddy, man, I appreciate you coming on and sharing all the work that you've been up to, all the stuff that you've done, and talking a little bit about your past and giving those tips at the end. It means a lot. It helps out a lot. And I'm sure if there's a young actor, or even for me as a audio drama maker, like I said, I do a lot of audio drama work, writing, narrating, sometimes acting in them or whatever. But I do a lot of work in that, and that helped me out a lot as far as your conversations about the short films. A director needing to know what he wants and be able to give that direction. That holds true as well for the audio dramas, because if I don't know what I want, I can't help the people that I bring onto the project to know what the vision for this is, or to know exactly what this character should be like, or what this line should be read like, or whatever it may be. So I guess what I'm saying is, man, I appreciate you coming on and imparting wisdom, not only to me, but to anybody else who's watching this. It means a lot to me, man. I thank you for giving the time to come on here, man. We're reaching the end of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
show.
no problem at all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're reaching the end of the show right now, and normally the way we end it is I'll say three things I'm grateful for. Let my guests say the same thing. Three things they're grateful for. For me, they don't change that often, if at all. Number one's got to be my support system. It's my family, it's my friends, my beautiful wife, my lovely daughters, my mom, dad, brother, anybody who supported me doing literally anything that I've done. It means the world to me, because I wouldn't be able to do anything without my support system. Life brings you down a lot of the times, and if you don't have a support system, it'll just hold you there. But that support system is there to lift you up and let you know that you are making some sort of a difference, whether it's just to you or it's to other people. It means something. So they're there to support you and help you. And I wouldn't be where I am without them. Number two is, well, you, the guests that come on the show, man, because without you, because if I'm being honest, you didn't have to come on here, man. I'm just some random dude that likes talking to people. So, I mean, it's not like you're obligated to be on the show or anything. So I'm very, very grateful that you would come on here and give your time and your knowledge to this show. It means a lot that you would do that for me. Seriously, I appreciate the hell out of it. And number three is the good Lord above, because man, without God, nothing is possible, and with him, everything is possible. So, buddy, what are three things in this moment that you are grateful for?
Well, I always want to say that I'm grateful for this great country we live in, and to have the opportunity to do the professions that we, or pursue the professions that we want to pursue, and we have the freedom to do that. And I'm very, very thankful for that. I'm a man that's never been married and have no kids, and most of my family has passed on, but my family now is my movie family. All these actors that I've mentioned that I've worked with, they are my support system now, and I'm just so blessed to have so many good friends in the industry that I can not only call them colleagues, but I can call them friends, and I can call them up if I need help with something, and they know they can call me up, and I'll help them out as well. And that's I'm just so grateful for my film family. And again, the my greatest thing that I'm grateful for is my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and everything that He's done for me. He's put me in this country that we have, and has surrounded me with these good people that I work with now, and given me the opportunity to pursue, this life, and I'm will always give the most thanks to him.
Definitely three things worthy of being grateful for, man. Again, buddy, thank you so much for coming on this show, man. It means the world to me. If people want to look you up, where is the best place to find you?
Well, I'm obviously on social media, and Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on X, and so forth. Buddy Campbell. You type in that, and I'm usually the first one that comes up. IMDb, if they want to see the list of movies I've done and all the projects, some upcoming projects I'm involved with, they can go to my IMDb page, which stands for Internet Movie Database, for those that aren't familiar with it. And they can type in Buddy Campbell in the search bar there, and I'm the only one there is, so I'm easy to find on there, and they can go down and look at all my movies, click on the movies themselves to see who all was in it and so forth, and they can keep up with my projects there. And incidentally, I have a new movie that is on my IMDb page now, a movie that we're currently shooting around Houston, Texas, called The Beast of Trinity, Texas. And just got back from Houston a few days ago, where we shot one of my scenes there. Had a great time with that, and I'll be going back in a couple more weeks to finish up down there with that one. But that's a you mentioned Voorhees Night of the Beast earlier. People don't realize that when the name The Beast is not referring to Jason Voorhees, it's referring to this Sasquatch character that's out in the woods that Jason Voorhees has to fight. So that's the beast there. And in this movie, The Beast of Trinity, Texas, is also a Sasquatch character. So this is my second Bigfoot movie that I've been involved with, and I'm just thrilled about that one. And this one's going to be very, very good. It's got a really great budget, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. But it's called The Beast of Trinity, Texas.
All right, man. Again, buddy, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it, man. But I'm gonna let you get back to your life, doing whatever you're doing, get some rest or whatever it may be that you're gonna do. And thank you once again for coming on, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Anytime you want me back, just let me know.
Yes, sir.
Come join the fun.